Welcome to another special edition of Miami County Monthly News. Our goal is to try to promote positive news stories and events in Miami County. This special edition is about the tornado outbreak in Miami and Howard County on August 24, 2016. Although a tornado outbreak is not necessarily positive news, the fact that there were no deaths or serious injuries is positive news. It is also positive news how Miami County came to the aid of our northern neighbor county, Howard County, that suffered through up to 10 tornadoes and a lot of damage. At approximately 6:15 p.m. on August 24, the Peru tornado sirens went off for a sighted tornado just north of town. This video was taken by Chris Reed on the south side of Peru. There was very little damage reported in Peru and Miami County. However, Kokomo and Howard County was less fortunate. They witnessed at least 10 tornadoes, including an EF3 tornado that was caught on video by Chuck Bartholomew. One of the most dramatic videos of that tornado was of the collapse of the Starbucks building. MCMN was unable to use that video without paying a licensing fee. However, I am sure many of you have seen it. If not, search for it. It is amazing that no one lost their life, thanks in part to Starbucks manager Angel Ramos. Miami County resident, Shelley Dyer, was in the Starbucks when the tornado struck it. After reading Shelley's grateful Facebook account on the evening of the tornado, Miami County Monthly News reached out to the Miami County resident to interview her about her life-changing experience.
All right, we're here with Miami County resident Shelley Dyer, who happened to be in the Starbucks the day the tornado hit in Kokomo, Indiana. It's been about a month. Shelley, can you kind of reflect back on the events of that day?
Yes, we had a meeting set up. I had a meeting with a gentleman from North Carolina, one from Orlando, Florida, one from Indianapolis, and one from Fort Wayne. So we kind of chose the Starbucks in Kokomo because we were going to meet in the middle, sort of. So we went in and we met and we were talking and just kind of, they were passing the baton. One guy was retiring and the other one coming in, so we were just kind of discussing our accounts and things that we had going on, doing some introductions, etc. And we were just sitting there talking, and the phone started going off saying that there was a tornado warning or watch, I'm not sure exactly. And we kept on talking and just I kind of ignored it, and then they started going off again. We noticed how dark it had gotten out in the parking lot. But, we really didn't think, this tornado is going to hit us here where we are sitting. And then maybe a couple minutes later, Angel came by and said, to each table, said, you need to come with me and go into the restrooms for safety. So we all did. Everybody did. I don't think there was anybody that gave him any grief or anything like that. And a lot of that was due to his demeanor and the way that he handled it. He didn't stand in the front of the store and just shout out, anything like.
So he was very calm.
He was very calm.
And then this Angel is the.
He is the shift manager.
Shift manager that day at Starbucks. Okay.
Yes. And so, his demeanor you just did what he said, just because you felt like he was in control and we needed to do that. So we all went back to the restrooms, and I don't know how much time elapsed. It seemed like a long time, but I don't think it really was. The women all went into the women's restroom, and the men's went the men went into their men's restroom, but there wasn't enough room there, so they were kind of hanging out in the hallway, and we were all talking and just, you know, trying to lighten the mood, I think. Well, a couple minutes later, Angel told us all that we needed to get into the restrooms, and he pulled a couple of the men over into our restroom, and they had to shut the doors. Well, we could hear, it wasn't very long, maybe 30 seconds later, we could hear things starting to hit the outside of the building. And we heard, I mean, in retrospect, I realized that the loudest sound that we heard was the whole building falling down. But from the bathroom, it didn't sound like a whole building was falling down. It sounded like things were blowing around in the dining room, or it was kind of a hollow clanking sound, like blocks, like wooden blocks falling down. So then it was all over. I mean, in the middle of it, in the midst of it happening, I mean, it was probably a minute worth of time, but the light got pulled out of the ceiling, so there was, you know, some debris that fell down on one of the ladies, but nobody got hurt. So as soon as it was over, you know, we were all kind of shocked, and you know, we really didn't know the extent of the damage out in the whole building. So it wasn't long, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute. After it all ended, there was a voice outside that said, "Is anybody in here? Are you guys okay?" And we all said, "Yes, we're fine. Just get us out of here." We couldn't open the door. We all thought that it had gotten pinched in the door jamb, you know, just by the pressure of the tornado, because we all could feel our ears popping when it happened. So, you know, just those thoughts were going through our heads. And then Brandon Mobley, I found out his name was later, was Brandon Mobley, came over to us, and he was asking, "Is everybody okay?" You know, and we didn't understand why he was so frantic, because we didn't realize that the whole building was down. You know, we all told him we were fine, just get us out of there. So he said, I need to move some things out here. So he started moving some things. We didn't know what those things were. I asked, "What are you moving?" And he said, "I'm moving the bricks. The wall fell down." He said the whole building fell down. So, you know, we all kind of looked at each other like, you know, wow, okay, and still didn't really sink in. But we were getting a little nervous about getting out of that room. You know, was there anything above us that could fall in on us, you know, anything like that. So as he was moving things, he got to the point where he could just about open the door, but then there was this big guy in the bathroom with us, and he just told everybody to watch out, and he kicked the door right off the hinges. So when the door came down, that's when we really got our first glimpse of the severity of the situation. We could just see the sky.
That was it.
That was it.
I mean, you walked out, no building, just sky.
Just the sky. So they moved the door away, and we had to crawl out over a pile of bricks. I mean, probably, I don't know how tall that is. I'm 5 feet, so 3.5 feet tall. We had to crawl up over that, and then over partial of the wall that had fallen down. So we got out, and it really, I think it hit each one of us as we walked out into the parking lot and looked at the building and saw that it was just completely demolished. I mean, I think each person came out of there, looked at that.
Very fortunate
cried.
that you went into the
yes,
restroom.
Very fortunate. I mean, if we didn't, we would have been killed. I mean, where the roof and the other wall, the east wall met, when that building fell, it fell right on the tables where we were sitting. I mean, nobody would have made it out of there. I mean, it was just, they would have just been crushed. So we just, you know, it was just a feeling of being fortunate that, you know, you were still alive, that you made it out of there without, I mean, and without any kind of injury. Nobody was even hurt. So it was just, we were very lucky. And I think it, beyond that, you know, of course you get out of there and you start making calls to your husband and your parents, and where my daughter Piercy was with a friend, and, you know, you just start making those phone calls. But then once I got home and I saw the video of the building crashing down, it really,
which was, I think, taken by Brandon Mobley. Yes, Brandon he was Mobley. Inside the Chili's. I tried to contact him, and he doesn't own the rights to that anymore, so I can't use it. But if anybody's interested, it's out there all over the place. Right. The footage of the Starbucks actually coming down. So
yes, so it was quite an experience. It makes you, you know, look at things a little bit differently, and and realize how, every day is a gift, and it can.
I bet it's kind of a life-changing event, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Some people go through their life without even ever seen a tornado.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Some people are in a tornado, but to actually, just to go through kind of what you did, that's
right.
Very few people have to go through something
right.
like that. So it's happening. It's kind of like you don't realize kind of the severity of it,
right,
until you actually get out, and then it becomes so surreal that wow.
Well, one of my friends asked me, after this all happened, I got a lot of texts and emails
right.
and calls, and which I appreciate. I thought that was, very nice to hear from some people. But one of my friends asked, what was everybody doing in the restroom? Were they screaming? Were they, what were they doing? I said, nothing. We were standing there listening to the sound of the storm coming through, the tornado coming through.
Did it sound like a train?
No.
You didn't hear that? Maybe you're inside.
Yeah, I think we were kind of insulated.
Yeah.
It really, to me, of course, looking back, I didn't realize what happened at the time. But when that building fell down, it sounded like the big wooden blocks that we used to play with when we were kids. And when, you would build a castle or you'd build
right.
something really tall, and when it would fall down, it would have a hollow, clanking sound. And that's what it sounded like. I mean, when you looked at the building, I mean, it looked like individual blocks that had just, fallen down, and it's what it sounded like.
So you spent some time going back and taking some food down to some of the people and helping out and getting, volunteering. How did that go?
It was good. Again, when you've been through something like that, and you realize how fortunate you were to make it through it. It was a terrible thing for me to deal with, but I got to get in my car and drive home to my house that was okay. So when you realize, okay, that was bad that happened to me, but there are people that are in much worse shape. Some of those people were in their homes when that happened, so they went through what I went through, and they're going through the fact that their homes they
don't have any place to live.
Yes, and it's a humbling experience when we just got some sandwiches together, and Jimmy and I went down and passed them out. We had 120 sandwiches the first day, and they were gone in 20 minutes, and then the next day we had some friends that were willing to help and go to and donate like you did. And so we had a group of, I don't know, maybe 10 people that went down that day and helped, give sandwiches and drinks and chips and different things out. And, those people, they're just trying to clean their properties up. They're just trying to, get some things accomplished so that they can either move in or get insurance to take care of it, or just taking away their valuables, things that they want to keep, from that point forward. But even into the weeks after that, I'd go down to Cedar Crest with a couple of coolers full of pop or water or whatever, and there was still so much work going on that people just appreciated that, and it was nice to be able to do that.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for your time, and I'm glad you made it through everything all right, and I'm glad we finally got to set up a time to get an interview, because I kind of wanted to hear what it was like to go through something like that.
Yes.
And okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Not only did Shelley, her husband, and friends help out with tornado relief, but a lot of Miami County did as well. The city of Peru provided dump trucks to help with the cleanup, as well as 3 city police officers that helped with security. There was also a request from Kokomo YMCA for shower supplies for those that were displaced. Miami County residents stepped up and supplied those needs. We interviewed YMCA Executive Director Mark Demchek about that process.
He is one of the members, or the YMCA is one of the members of the United Way, and they've had a very unique project recently, and I wanted to talk to a little bit about them and how did that project go, and a little bit about it and how it got started and what you ended up with.
Well, the tornadoes last week in Kokomo were a good reminder of what can happen in a moment, and what we were blessed with, and just being grateful for what we have. Had the tornadoes been 20 miles north, then we would have been the ones asking. But as a lot of people know, the YMCA is not just here in Miami County. We're all over the country and all over the state. And shortly after the tornadoes, I reached out to Dave Du Bois. There's the executive director of the Kokomo YMCA, and they had just gotten their power back. And thankfully, they didn't lose any. There was no property damage. The Y was up and operating, had power, but they were about to receive their first busload of visitors from the shelters, from the people who were displaced from the tornadoes. And he indicated to me that they were short on shower supplies. So a YMCA typically have some towels laying around. We provide some soap and shampoo and that kind of thing, but we're certainly not prepared for the hundreds of people who were displaced. So I said, well, we'll reach out and see what happens. He also sent an email around to the other Ys in that neighbor, Howard County. And in 24 hours, we were able to collect about 8 boxes full of stuff. Well, I also reached out to our local United Way director, Debbie Wallach, and she spread the word as well. And within 24 hours, we had several carloads of goods, shower supplies, specifically shower supplies, that were ready to go. We had volunteers that were able to drive them down, and we delivered them the next day to the Kokomo Y.
There were many individuals from Miami County that also stepped up on their own. One of those residents was Ellie Blackburn, who took her 2 sons down to help with the cleanup. We interview Ellie and her 2 sons about their experience.
Okay, we're here with Elle Blackburn and her 2 sons, Bane Gilbert and Tell Gilbert. And Elle, you happened to be down there in Kokomo when the tornadoes went through Kokomo, weren't you? Were you down at school?
Yes, I was.
You go to IUK?
IUK, yep.
And what they have, did you do anything special?
Well, we looked around for a while for where we were supposed to be for a tornado, and we just hunkered down in a room. It was the drawing room in the art studio. The lights went out, we lost all the power, and we just waited. Lots of people had their phones, so they could tell what was going on outside, but that's all we did.
So I hear the next day, was it the next day you went down to help with the cleanup?
I think it was 2 days later.
Okay.
Was it? No, it was Thursday.
Yeah.
It was Thursday evening, yeah.
So you took the boys down after school and
Yep.
did some cleaning up?
Yes, we did.
What was that all about?
Well, I think it's important to teach my kids to take care of others. If it happened to us, we'd need some help too. So we went down there to, help other people. We don't know anyone affected, so we just went through the United Way and talked to them to see what we should do, how we can help out.
All right. So what did you guys end up doing while you were down there? What was it like?
It was hot.
Oh, it was hot that day, wasn't it?
And it looked like Tornado Alley.
It did. Can you explain that?
There was a bunch of sticks and leaves everywhere. We cleaned up and we made huge piles everywhere. And on the 3rd house we came across, we had to clean out 2 big trees. And so they were so big that we needed chainsaws to break through them. And then a bunch of people came and helped out. We finished up the front yard, and then we started on the backyard, but it was starting to get late, so we started to head home. And the people that were living in this house were the man was blind, and then the lady was in the hospital, so we did them a big favor. Some of the people were still working when we left. I think we ended up cleaning up the whole house. We haven't seen it yet, so I hope that they're really happy after that.
I bet they are. Was there any damage to their house, or was it just in the yard?
I think it was just in the yard. I don't know if it was out.
So was a lot of people at the 3rd house helping out?
Yeah. We were the first ones there, though.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
started helping, and then more people came, right?
And there was a huge barrier, and it looked like we were going through the zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse. They had barriers up where you weren't supposed to drive through and stuff?
I think some yards did. Some
Yeah.
Some did.
So Bane, how was your experience? Did you enjoy or helping out?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. He pretty much said everything.
He said everything for you?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. And what'd you learn out of the experience? Did
To
you
always help others,
help others?
What'd you learn?
even if you don't know them.
Good. That's a good lesson.
I also learned that.
You learned that too? You let your brother talk for you a lot?
No.
He just got to say it before you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure they sure appreciate it, and I'm glad you guys made it down there to help out. That was awesome. Hope you learned a good lesson, and maybe someday someone will return a favor when you're in need. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add? Or Mom, anything else?
Nope.
All right. You went down the next night too, didn't you, with your mom,
I
or
went during the day.
during the day with your mom?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Same type of thing.
Yeah, we went to a different area and with the church that time, but same idea. Yep, cleaning up the yards. I think I'm gonna go Saturday to help clean up Highland Park because it's a mess and they're having
Okay.
a lot of people go out there.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for the interview, and thanks for your contribution. Okay.
See you later.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
So really.